So you already mentioned a little bit that in the beginning, like a lot of your clients came from referral. How are
Mhm.
you getting clients today? What's your secret?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, it was referrals before, and honestly, it's really translated a lot into that now. I mean, I've I've dabbled into getting the marketing going and trying social media, and I'm getting into Pinterest and all these new things that come with pivoting your business, because it's like, okay, now that I'm starting over, I can't just rely on what I had before. I need to get myself in front of new faces and like let people know I exist. So yeah, Instagram has definitely been something that's been helpful just for people to see my work, to educate them a little bit more around design. And I'm still navigating what that looks like and sort of what my strategy is for getting my voice out there as a designer, because it's like I didn't do it for so long, but I have like, all that knowledge to share. And it's just sort of like what direction or what avenue feels right
Yeah.
for me, because there's so many ways out there. And I think it's easy to just see the people that dance for the reels and like do all these things and just be like, that doesn't feel aligned. But how can I still create that momentum in my business, but in a way that feels like it honors my vision and my personality for my
Yeah.
business?
Are you
So
doing
that's
your own
still sort of something.
marketing? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm doing everything myself at the moment. I mean, I've had a copywriter help me stuff for my website and funnels and things like that, but everything else has been me. And like, I would like to get to the point where I can, outsource more, but I'm still sort of navigating the whole new business.
Yeah.
But to sort of circle back to answer your question, like pretty much since I launched last summer, it's still been with 90% referrals, which has been fantastic, because it's all, people that know me or have worked or work with somebody that's worked with me. And so there's already that kind of like camaraderie of like, let's do this. Like we're going to create something epic together. And it, lights me up, because then it's just like kind of building that continued network of these amazing entrepreneurs out there. There's a lot of hats you have to wear as an entrepreneur, trying to get it all done or figure out when you need to bring someone in to help and delegate. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all a learning process for sure.
Definitely. We have a question around how much do you make on average a month? It doesn't have to be an exact answer, but I would really want to share with our listeners, what could they expect? Is there, yeah, like how much could you make, or what is a good month for you, or what would be like a bad month?
Yeah. So I do think it sort of fluctuates, one on, the size of projects you're willing to take on, the type of clients you want to take on. I mean, if you're working with a, solopreneur versus a big agency, the project sizes might be vastly different. But then the budgets also are as well. So I think there's one thing to keep in mind if you're going into the graphic or web design world, is you can really take it in so many different directions. But then there's also opportunity for passive income streams, which is sort of what I'm working towards right now. Because for 10 years, I worked more like on hourly project based, which is great, but there was no room for growth financially. You can only work so many hours in a day. And I think one thing to really help with our monthly income, if anyone in this industry or niche, is to start figuring out how can you make extra streams of income along with the design work that you're doing, because you also want to start thinking long term. So really, I mean, you could make, I've always averaged like, 5-figure months before, and I'm like pretty much getting to that now, since starting completely from scratch. But I also am aware that there's different goals that I have for this business, and it's, helping more people. And to do that, I also need to create some of these passive projects like website templates and things like that, so that I can achieve my goal of helping more people, but then also take away some of the hours that you need to work to do custom work. So I think it's just, my point being, it's really important for people to know as they move into this space that really there's so many different directions you can take it. You can decide you want to do fully custom at whatever price point feels good to you, or you can start kind of mixing it up and doing templates and custom work, or, VIP intensive. So that's also a whole nother direction that a lot of people are moving towards. So the ball's really in your court.
Yeah, I really love that answer, because what we also do on this sort of section of our website is digital nomad jobs or jobs for remote works. Like you could be a freelancer, you can be a remote worker where you're an employee, or you can be more like in the entrepreneur space, but you can also all be a bit of everything. It's really about like, what do you want in your life? Not like for tomorrow, because a quick buck, you can make a quick buck anywhere, but what is it that you want on the long term? And how can, like, what steps can you take to get there? And it's not about the big jumps. It's more also about what like smaller steps can you do in between to really get there, and what can you learn on the way? You might need to tweak your path a little bit. Maybe you work with a bunch of clients that you really don't like working with because of their nature of work or whatever. And then you have to like switch your path. There's so many tweaks in between, but I think having that bigger picture, having goals that you can also create in your work management tool, whether it's just on our ClickUp, like you can set goals in there. Just having that picture for yourself is so important. And then also what you make every month doesn't really matter as long as you can pay the bills, live a comfortable life. I think that's very important.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing about being a nomad too. I mean, it depends also where you want to live. If you want to go live in Bali versus like living, somewhere in Europe, the amount you need to make a month is so vastly different. So it's just like, if your intention is to live by the beach in a place that's very affordable, then you can alleviate some of the pressure that you put on yourself, make a certain number. And I also think as I've sort of moved into this new space these last months, there's like so much hype around like having these certain dollar months, but it's just like, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. You're happy, you're safe, and you can afford the lifestyle you want. That's always been like the biggest thing for me. And, I've been fortunate to be able to like fund all these adventures for so many years, but it's never really been about like hitting specific numbers. Like if I'm happy and I'm out there living life, that's so much more important than killing yourself to make a certain amount of money. And like with entrepreneurship, you're going to have to put in the work, but if you're like stoked about life at the end of the day, that's the best thing I could wish for someone, is to just be happy and be fulfilling their dream.
Definitely. Yeah.